On October 1, 2025, a new day began over Beijing. In the famous Tiananmen Square, the morning sun lit up the whole area. A huge crowd of more than 120,000 people stood quietly, watching. They saw a single, bright red flag slowly rise into the clear sky. As it reached the top, the crowd clapped very loudly and cheered. This was no ordinary flag-raising ceremony. It was the 76th anniversary of the People's Republic of China's founding. This important day has changed from a national celebration into a big event that the entire world now watches closely. It shows China's goals on the global stage. The scene in Tiananmen Square clearly showed what modern China is like: very organized, precise, and full of clear confidence. When the five-starred red flag finally reached its highest point, it did so exactly as the sun rose, a perfectly planned show of symbols. China's National Day has grown beyond its first purpose. It started in 1949 as a way to celebrate a victory in war. Now, it is an annual statement of China's big plans for the world, its amazing new technology, and its long culture becoming strong again. President Xi Jinping further highlighted the international importance of this Chinese holiday. He held an evening reception on September 30. He spoke to 800 Chinese and foreign guests at the Grand Great Hall of the People. His message was very clear. China is standing at the start of a completely new time. This new era is not just for China itself, but for all countries around the globe. President Xi declared, "Achieving the great rebirth of the Chinese nation is a task never seen before." His powerful words were heard and deeply felt far outside China's borders, signaling a bold new chapter for the nation and the world. 2. A look at the past. On October 1, 1949, a very important day happened in China. From the Gate of Heavenly Peace, Mao Zedong spoke to 300,000 people. He announced the birth of the People's Republic of China. This historic moment followed many years of a difficult civil war. That conflict reshaped not only China, but also the entire face of Asia. The very first National Day ceremony was planned with great care. It started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As the national anthem played, the first five-star red flag was raised. 54 cannons fired a special 28-gun salute. After this, a military parade took place. It featured 16,400 troops. Most were foot soldiers and horse riders, with a small number of cannons and armored vehicles. This may seem small now, but it was a big show for a country that had just finished years of fighting and foreign control. These early National Day events quickly became more than just a celebration. They were a yearly show of the new government's power and growing strength. From 1950 to 1959, China held military parades every October 1st. Each one showed how the People's Liberation Army was getting stronger and how the nation was making progress in technology. These first celebrations had several goals. They helped unite people in China, showed that the military was ready for war, and told the world that China was no longer weak after its century of humiliation. The celebrations changed as China itself grew. For example, the 1956 parade happened during heavy rain. It was notable because it showed the first Chinese-made Jifang trucks. Doing the parade in bad weather showed the new China's spirit of never giving up. By 1959, the parades were much bigger and more modern, with jet aircraft. This showed how quickly China was building its industries under communist rule. In 1960, the government decided to make the parades less frequent. The Central Committee chose to have one small celebration in 5 years and one big parade in 10 years. This meant they could use money and effort for economic growth instead of big shows. This change lasted until 1984. At that time, Deng Xiaoping's new plans for the economy brought back a very grand celebration for the 35th anniversary. This was a clear sign that China was ready to step onto the world stage again. 3. The Big Holiday Week. The National Day holiday in China is very important. It is not just one day, but a week-long festival. People call this week Golden Week. This period shows China's economic power, not just its political strength. In the year 2025, many people traveled. Chinese officials said there were about 2.36 billion passenger trips. This means almost 300 million journeys happened every day during the 8-day holiday. This huge movement of people shows how strong China's economy is and how much money its middle class has to spend. Golden Week started in the year 1999. It changed National Day from a single event into a big show of economic energy. Hotels, airlines, and tourist places all made a lot more money. Shopping centers and shops gave big discounts to people during this happy time. The money made during Golden Week also helps other countries. For example, Thailand thought Chinese travelers would spend about 9 billion Thai baht in 2025. Each Chinese tourist spent about 6,600 baht every day. This shows that when China celebrates, countries in Southeast Asia, Africa, and other places feel the good economic effects. However, the holiday also shows some problems. Even with many travelers, people spent less money per person than before the pandemic. Experts from Goldman Sachs said that tourism money per person was 2.1% lower than before. This shows that people are still worried about the economy and if they have enough money to spend. This makes the story of China's wealth more complicated. 4. A message for the world. President Xi Jinping gave an important speech during the National Day celebrations. He told everyone about China's big plans for the world. He said China is at the start of a new time, not just for itself, but for all countries. Xi Jinping wants China to be an important country that helps make the world better. China has ideas for how the world should work. These ideas are about global development, making the world safe, respecting all cultures, and having fair global rules. China wants many countries to be strong, not just a few. They believe all countries should work together, even if their governments are different. China wants to offer a new way for global cooperation, different from older ways. One big plan is called the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. This project connects China with many other countries. It helps build important things like roads, railways, and ports in places like Africa, Asia, and Europe. More than 140 countries have joined the BRI. Through the BRI, China wants to help countries trade more and grow their economies. China says this plan helps everyone and does not tell other countries what to do or how to live. It is about countries helping each other get stronger. President Xi Jinping said China wants true cooperation among all nations. This means countries should work together fairly and equally. China wants to help make the world more stable and peaceful for everyone. Many countries, especially in Africa and South Asia, like this idea from China. They see it as a chance to grow and develop without facing problems from bigger, older powers. China's message is that it wants to work with all countries to build a shared future. 5. How other countries see it. Countries around the world see China's National Day in different ways. Some nations have worries, while others show strong support. These different views show how complex China's place in the world has become. Western countries, like the United States and those in Europe, often have mixed feelings. They send polite greetings to China, wishing its people well. However, they also have deep concerns. They worry about China's growing military power and its active role in global matters. These countries often feel that China's rise changes the existing world order. The United States, for instance, has sent messages of peace but continues to hold private concerns about China's worldwide plans. European leaders sometimes keep their worries to themselves, but they share similar thoughts about China's increasing influence. On the other hand, countries like Russia and North Korea often show firm support for China. Leaders such as Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un have attended important military events in China. This shows strong ties and suggests that these nations see China as a leader in a different kind of world system. Many developing countries also find China's ideas about working together very appealing. Chinese people living outside of China also react to National Day. For many, seeing China become strong and successful makes them feel proud of their home country. They believe that a powerful China helps and protects Chinese people everywhere. Groups such as the All-American Chinese Association have stated that China's success gives overseas Chinese a greater sense of confidence. For the estimated 60 million Chinese people living abroad, this day holds important meaning for their identity. However, the National Day also highlights concerns about human rights in China. Groups like Amnesty International often use this time to speak out. In 2025, Amnesty International released a report criticizing China's legal system, saying it is used to control people rather than provide fair trials. They reported that human rights defenders are often jailed for expressing their views. There are also ongoing concerns about how China treats minority groups such as the Uyghurs in Xinjiang, where reports suggest mass detention and cultural repression. Such reports cause many countries to question China's ideas of justice and freedom. Taiwan, a nearby island, pays close attention to China's National Day. China often uses the day to restate its goal of reuniting with Taiwan, which makes Taiwan's leaders very concerned. Other Asian nations, like Japan and the Philippines, also see China's military displays as a sign of its increasing power in the region, which can cause worry or anger. Japan has even advised other leaders not to attend Chinese military parades. 6. Two special places. For China's National Day in 2025, attention turned to two special places, Taiwan and Hong Kong and Macau. Beijing had strong words about Taiwan. President Xi Jinping said China wants reunification. This means China believes Taiwan should become part of mainland China again, even though Taiwan has its own democratic government. China has always seen Taiwan as a part of its territory. Taiwan's president, Lai Ching-te, and his government do not agree. They see Taiwan as a country that makes its own decisions. Because of this, China has increased its military pressure. After President Lai's important speech, China held large military exercises around Taiwan. These exercises were a clear warning against any move for Taiwan to become formally independent. A survey in Taiwan showed that most people, about 84%, do not want to join China under the one country, two systems plan. They worry that their freedoms would be lost, looking at what has happened in Hong Kong. For the United States and its allies, Taiwan is a key issue, showing their support for democratic values. Moving to Hong Kong and Macau, these two places already live under the one country, two systems framework. Their National Day celebrations in 2025 were quite different. In Hong Kong, the events felt more controlled. Chief Executive John Lee led a flag-raising ceremony. However, there was no open public area for people to watch. This was due to security rules. This showed the changed political mood in Hong Kong since Beijing introduced the national security law in 2020. Public criticism or large protests are now much less common, reflecting tighter control from the mainland. Macau's celebration, in contrast, showed a more positive image of harmony and growth. Chief Executive Ho Yat-seng spoke about how well Macau was doing with China's support. Macau continues to integrate closely with China's development plans, maintaining its unique style while working together with the mainland. The one country, two systems idea was meant to let Hong Kong and Macau keep their own laws and way of life for 50 years. However, Hong Kong's recent changes show the limits of this idea. Taiwan watches these events carefully. The reduction of freedoms in Hong Kong makes many Taiwanese people doubt China's promises for their own future. These two special places, Taiwan and Hong Kong and Macau, show big questions about China's power, local freedoms, and the path forward for the region. 7. A show of strength. On September 3, 2025, China held a very large and impressive military parade. This important event happened just before the main National Day celebrations. It was a clear way for China to show the whole world how strong its armed forces had become. More than 50,000 soldiers, sailors, and airmen marched in this grand display of power. The parade showed off many new and powerful weapon systems. People saw huge intercontinental ballistic missiles designed to travel long distances. There were also advanced stealth fighter jets flying overhead, and modern Navy vessels on display. China also highlighted cutting-edge technology for its military, such as advanced laser systems and unmanned robotic platforms. This entire display sent a very strong message. China's military had reached new heights. It showed that China could now stand equal to, or even surpass, the United States in many parts of military strength. Important leaders from other countries came to Beijing specifically to watch this parade. Among the guests were President Vladimir Putin of Russia and leader Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Their attendance showed that China had strong and loyal allies ready to stand with it. This gathering of powerful leaders also suggested that China was leading a new kind of international cooperation. This powerful show of military strength had deep meanings for both America and countries across Asia. Many of the advanced weapons shown were specially designed to counter American military advantages in the Western Pacific region. For example, there were hypersonic missiles capable of targeting large United States aircraft carriers. Also, advanced submarines were presented, which could challenge American naval control. For regional neighbors like Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines, the military parade served as a pointed reminder of the changing balance of power in Asia. It also underscored China's growing military presence and claims in vital areas such as the South China Sea. Western military analysts carefully observed the parade, noting China's focus on joint operations and its ability to quickly move forces. These developments suggested that China's military was not just for defense. It was evolving to project its power far beyond its own borders, showing a fundamental shift in its global role. 8. Looking to the future. China's 76th National Day in 2025 gave a clear message. China is confident and has big plans. It wants to change how countries work together, aiming for a world with many strong powers, sharing in growth. For the next 25 years, China has a grand vision. President Xi Jinping talks about the great regeneration of the Chinese nation. This means China wants to be a top global power in every way. The 15th Five-Year Plan, 2026 to 2030, will guide these steps, mapping out China's path to stronger global leadership. However, China also faces many difficulties. At home, there are challenges like an aging population and slower economic growth. Protecting the environment and making sure all people are treated fairly are also big tasks. China must keep its society stable while pursuing global goals. Globally, China faces growing competition and a less united world. China wants to rise without causing big conflicts. China's rise is changing the world for all of us. It makes us think about how countries should act, how economies grow, and if progress needs political freedom. The China model shows a different way for many developing countries to find success. The world is watching China closely. This National Day showed China as a powerful country with big plans. But it also highlighted the difficult parts of China becoming a global leader. How China manages its problems, both at home and with other countries, will shape its future and how the world works. The main question is, can the current world order accept China's rise peacefully? Or will this lead to new global competition? China's National Day reminds us of these big questions. It is a time for thinking about power, progress, and what is next for everyone. What do you think China's biggest challenge will be in the next 10 years?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.